Tonight, you are going somewhere different. Somewhere the air is different, cooler, softer. It carries pine, it carries cedar, it carries the clean cold that comes down off the mountains at the edge of night. The silence here is different too, not the silence of empty squares or stone streets or wide open places. This is a silence made of presence, the presence of very old trees, deep water, and the breath of a city that was built to listen. You are going to Heian-kyō, the capital of Japan, in the autumn of the year 1000. The Imperial Court is at the height of its long, radiant flower. The city spreads between its mountains and rivers, deliberate, formal, like a poem written in wood and water and stone. The moon is rising over the eastern hills, the full harvest moon of the 9th month. It is turning the roof tiles of 10,000 buildings to silver. Let your body be still now. Let the weight of it settle. Your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. Let them go, all at once, the way leaves let go when the season finally asks them to. Breathe in the mountain air, cool and alive. Breathe out. The road into the city is already here. The gates are open. The moon is up. Take one more breath. Feel the cool of the autumn night, the particular cool of a Japanese autumn. It is different from any cool you have found in other places, different in its texture, different in its smell, more resinous, more forested. It carries the complexity of a place where the mountains are always close, the trees are always old, the silence between sounds is as cultivated as the sounds themselves. Then come. Heian-kyō is waiting, patient, as it has always been, complete as it has always been, ready to receive you, quietly and with open hands. The road comes in from the east. It crosses the flat plain of the basin, slow and quiet, between fields of rice stubble, the harvest already taken in. The cut stalks are pale in the moonlight, the earth between them dark and moist. It smells of its own depth. The mountains are on all sides, not far, not threatening, but present. They frame the basin the way margins frame a page. They define the space by their enclosure. The city in the center seems both protected and chosen. To the north and west, the mountains are close. In daylight, you can see the pines on their ridges. To the east, the hills of Higashiyama rise and darken the sky. It is from behind these hills that the moon is lifting now, enormous, amber and gold, the full harvest moon. The court has been waiting for this for weeks. Moon viewing, tsukimi. It is one of the great pleasures of the Heian court. Tonight, every garden with a pond will arrange that pond to reflect the moon. Every nobleman will be near the water, watching the reflection, composing poems in their heads about the feeling the moon produces. That feeling has a name: longing, wistfulness about beautiful, impermanent things, mono no aware, the pathos of things, the gentle sadness that beauty carries. Beauty will not last. Tonight the moon is full and perfect. It will never be more itself than at this moment. Everyone watching knows this is true, and this knowledge is part of the pleasure. But you are arriving now. The viewing has not properly begun. The evening light is fading. The road is busy with the last traffic of the day. An ox cart is coming the other way. Its passenger is invisible behind the lowered blinds. Only a pale sleeve is visible at the window's edge. It trails like a ribbon in the still air. A group of monks is returning from the eastern temples. Their robes are the color of saffron in the fading light. Their sandals raise small puffs of road dust. A woman with a bundle walks quickly. She is intent on arriving somewhere before the dark. The road crosses a wooden bridge. Below you, The Kamo River moves. It is the color of the sky, deep blue, going toward violet. The first stars are appearing in the east. Their reflection floats in the water below. The river is very calm at this hour. It seems to be thinking rather than flowing. It moves too slowly to disturb its own surface. A heron stands at the river's edge, still, completely still. Its long neck curves into a question mark. That is the posture herons take when they are waiting. That is all herons ever do. They wait. They wait with a patience that makes human patience look agitated. The heron does not look at you. It attends to something in the water, something you cannot see, something you would not understand, even if you could. The bridge carries you across, through the eastern gate and into Heian-kyō. The city opens around you, like a scroll, being slowly unrolled. The gate stands quiet before you, 2 stories of weathered cypress wood, old and dignified. Above, a room. The night guards keep watch there. A lamp glows at the window. A silhouette moves once across the light, then it is gone. The gateposts are enormous timbers, squared hinoki cypress, centuries old. They have been here since the city was established. 200 years of standing still. They carry that age in their scent, deep and dry and faintly sweet. Old cypress always smells this way, warmer than pine, more intimate than pine. The smell of wood that has known hundreds of summers and hundreds of winters. It has made its peace with whatever weather comes. Beyond the gate, the street opens gently. Low walls line both sides. Branches extend over them into the dark. In the moonlight, their upper reaches are bare, pale bone against the sky. Lower down, the leaves are turning, rich with color, even in the night. Bare above, full below. Moonlight touching both. It has exactly the quality of a good ink painting. Economy of means, maximum of feeling, nothing wasted. A cat sits on a wall to your left. It watches you pass, not by turning its head, only by moving its eyes. The rest of the body holds perfectly still, the stillness of an animal that has learned something true. Most things that pass in the night are not worth reacting to, but all of them are worth watching. The great boulevard of Heian-kyō runs perfectly straight, from the south gate of the city to the south gate of the palace, nearly 3 miles long. It is very wide, 84 meters from one side to the other. Stand at one end, look toward the other. You have the sense of something vast. It was not designed for human beings. Something larger moved here once, something on the scale of the mountains that frame the city on all sides. Tonight, at this hour, the Suzaku Avenue is quiet. The processions that filled it by day have ended. The light has gone with them. The imperial carriages gone. The great lords in their lacquered ox carts gone. The monks in their long formal trains gone. The market stalls on either side have been dark for hours. What remains is the avenue itself, the broad packed earth roadway, still holding a little warmth from the afternoon sun. The double row of willow trees running along each side, their long branches move in the faint night breeze. The sound they make is like slow breathing, and the lanterns. Lanterns hang from the eaves of buildings. They glow with warm amber light, oil flame, inside paper shades. The light Japan has always used at night, not the sharp bright light of torch or bonfire. Something softer, more considerate, more willing to let the darkness keep what it needs. The lanterns sway slightly in the breeze, and their swaying makes the shadows sway too. The shadow of a willow branch moves back and forth across pale earth, a long, slow rhythm, almost hypnotic, the rhythm of something pendulous and patient. It could go on like this all night. It probably will. You walk south, Along Suzaku Avenue, the city arranges itself on either side in its precise grid: noble residences, temples, government offices, each one laid out in its place. They follow a plan drawn in the 8th century. The capital moved here from Nara then. The plan was modeled on Chang'an, the great Tang capital. The grid shows a city that understood itself as civilized. It arranged its streets accordingly. The blocks are not silent. Behind the walls, there are sounds, the sounds of wealthy households at night. The plucking of a Kyoto string in someone's garden, a single note held and then released, then silence, then another note, the sound of water in a garden stream, just audible over the wall. Once briefly, the high clear voice of a woman singing 4 or 5 notes of a song. The words dissolve before they reach you. Only the melody remains, delicate as the trail of ink on a letter, written in a hand so practiced it barely touches the page. The Heian court has made beauty into a discipline, rigorous, as demanding as anything else. The noblemen and women live behind these walls. They have spent years learning to write, learning to compose poetry, learning the koto and the biwa. They learn to appreciate moonlight on different kinds of leaves. They learn to recognize incense by smell alone. They know the season of a garment's perfume. The court women wear 12 layered robes, perfumed with incense, specific to the season. Recognizing the correct incense matters. It is a form of knowledge, a form of cultivation. The court takes it seriously. Beauty here is not decoration. It is the primary work. It is what the court exists to produce, to appreciate, to pass down. You pass a section of garden wall. The plaster has recently been repaired. Fresh plaster, still slightly pale. Weathered gray sections stand on either side. The new plaster stands out, guileless. New things haven't yet learned to blend in. On the old plaster, a poem has been brushed in fading ink. The characters are visible, but barely. The ink faded over months or years of weather. More ghost than text, more suggestion than statement. You cannot read it in the darkness, even if you could read classical script. But you can see it was written carefully. The characters descend the column with confidence. Someone understood something important. This wall was not just a wall, it was a surface, and a surface is an opportunity. A procession is moving west. You hear it first, the creak of a heavy ox cart, the murmur of attendants, a flute being played inside the carriage. The notes arrive in pieces. The cart turns a corner. The music carries directly toward you. Then the angle shifts. The music diffuses again. An ox cart of the Heian nobility is not simply transportation. It is a statement. It is a demonstration, a mobile room. The passenger lives their enclosed life within it. They communicate with the world through one deliberate gap, a partly raised blind. A pale sleeve appears at the window. Layered robes, visible there. These are accepted signals. They show who's inside. Tonight the cart moves through the residential blocks to the west. The music moves with it. Then the wheel creak fades. The music fades. The avenue returns to its own particular silence. The Imperial Palace is a city within the city, a compound of buildings and gardens and walls. Ceremonial spaces surround it. A great wall encloses everything. Gates offer entry, guarded night and day by soldiers. They stand in a particular posture, the posture of people who have been standing in one place for a very long time, not quite rigid, not quite relaxed, somewhere in between. The body holds its position through habit, not effort, just habit. You pass through the outer gate, you enter the compound. The scale of the place becomes apparent gradually. That is how scale becomes apparent at night. The moon reveals it, piece by piece. One building's roofline resolves out of the darkness, then the pale gravel of the forecourt, then another building behind it. Its upswept eaves appear. Japanese eaves have a particular curve. The roofline turns upward at the corner, as if the building is lifting its hem, as if it intends to rise. The compound holds dozens of buildings. Each one has its own name. Each one has its own purpose. The Seiryo-den, where the emperor sleeps, the Jiju-den, for quieter ceremonies, the office halls, the storehouses, the guard barracks along the walls. By day, movement between these buildings follows elaborate rules. Rank determines who may enter and where. The same rules govern the distances between people. At night, the rules sleep. They sleep with the people who enforce them. The compound becomes something simpler then. Just a collection of beautiful wooden buildings in the moonlight. They belong to no rank. They admit anyone who approaches them quietly, anyone who approaches with good intentions, like you do. The wood of these buildings is hinoki cypress, the same cypress as the gate. It carries that same warm, dry smell. It has been joined without nails, in the traditional manner. Each timber fits the next by cuts and notches, no force, just precision and patience. Generations of craftsmen understood something important. Wood moves, it expands and contracts with the seasons. A structure that accommodates movement stands far longer than one that resists it. The buildings of the Deidari have been rebuilt many times. Fire is the great enemy of wooden architecture. The imperial compound has burned and been rebuilt within living memory. Each rebuilding uses the same joinery, the same proportions, the same understanding of wood. The buildings that stand here tonight, they know exactly what they are. The Shishinden stands at the center, the hall of state, the great throne room. It rises on its raised platform of white gravel. At this hour, it is closed and dark. Its great doors are sealed. Its ceremonial spaces are empty. The courtiers who fill them by day are gone. The moonlight falls across it without permission. It doesn't need to be invited. The white gravel glows so strongly in the moonlight. You can see your own shadow, precise, sharp-edged. It walks beside you as you cross the forecourt toward the building. The shadow of the Shishinden falls to the east, a long dark shape across the gravel, exact as a silhouette. The curve of the eaves describes itself perfectly on the pale ground. A gardener has raked the gravel recently. The rake lines are still visible. Parallel curves run outward from the base of the platform. They mimic the ripples water makes when a stone is dropped into a still pond. You walk at the edge of the raked area. You are careful not to disturb the pattern. Your footsteps on the unraked section are nearly silent. The gravel here is fine and compacted. It absorbs the sound of your passing, the way dry earth absorbs rain, quietly, without protest. The moon above the Shishinden is fully risen now. It is no longer amber. It is the clear white silver of a moon at its zenith. The building under it is also silver. The roof tiles are silver. The white plaster of the walls is silver. The pale cypress wood of the pillars is silver, all of it converted by the moonlight. Variations of the same silver white. The building appears to be made of a single material. It has no name but moonlight. Behind it, to the north, the mountains are darker silver against the silver sky. Everything is the same temperature of light. Everything is still. Chapter 4. The Garden and the Pond. In the eastern section of the palace, gardens are built around water. This is the essential principle. A garden must have a pond. The pond must be large enough to reflect the sky. The sky reflected in the pond is a second sky. It is equally real, equally deep. The garden exists in both of them at once. You come to such a garden now, a nobleman's garden. It is attached to a Shinden-zukuri mansion. The main hall extends out over the pond's edge. It rests on wooden stilts. The building and the water meet without any awkward gap. The reflection of the lantern-lit interior trembles on the water below, a perfect inverted copy. It settles when the breeze passes on. The pond is large, large enough to have an island at its center. An arched bridge connects the island to the shore. It is painted in deep red lacquer. That red is so saturated, so specific. It reads in any light as exactly the red it is, even at night, even by moonlight. The island holds a single pine tree. The pine tree holds the moon in its branches, the way pine trees always hold the moon, partially, incompletely. The needles break the disk of light into fragments. They reassemble it differently as the tree moves. There is a different moon in each gap between needles. They are all the same moon. Carp move in the water below the bridge. Dark shapes, slow beneath the surface. They drift, unhurried. Fish that have lived in this pond for years know every inch of it. They have learned the pattern of the food that falls from the bridge. They have arranged their days around it. They have turned routine into a kind of wisdom. At night there is no food. The carp simply drift. The moonlight follows them through the water. It catches the gold of their scales when they turn near the surface. It releases the gold when they turn away. You sit on the railing of the bridge. You let the pond hold everything it holds. The reflection of the palace roof inverted, its curve now curving downward into the water. The reflection of the pine tree, dark and fragmented. It moves when the tree moves. The reflection of the moon, perfectly circular. It trembles only when the carp pass beneath it, or when the breeze touches the surface. Then it settles again into its circle, patient, undemanding, willing to be disturbed as many times as the night requires, and willing each time to return to itself. The garden sounds at this hour. Poets have written about them for 300 years. The drip of water from the bamboo pipe, one drop at a time. Each drop sends a small ripple outward, across the still surface, into the dark, the wind in the pines on the island, a sound the Japanese call matsukaze, pine wind. It is considered one of the most beautiful sounds in the world, a sound that is both beautiful and lonely. It is used as a metaphor for any sound that carries both things at once, the distant call of a waterfowl somewhere in the reed beds, beyond the garden wall, brief, undirected, a sound that lands in the quiet, then dissolves into it, leaving the quiet more itself than before. The garden was arranged by someone who understood something. A garden is not about the garden. A garden is about the person standing in it, what it allows them to feel, what it opens in them, what quality of attention it calls forward. The pond is placed with care. From the bridge, you see the moon in the water first. You see it in the sky second. The reflected moon is your first encounter. The real moon, your second. The meeting of the two, the real and the reflected, is the experience the garden was made to produce. The pine tree on the island is placed so that its branches break the moon's reflection. When the wind moves it, the reflection breaks and reforms, breaks and reforms, over and over. It makes the pond feel alive. It makes the moon feel like something that participates in the garden, not something the garden merely observes. There are stepping stones along the far bank. They follow a path from the arched bridge toward a small pavilion. The pavilion sits at the water's edge, 4 posts, a roof, an open side facing the water, just large enough for 2 people to sit in. They would look out at the pond, at the moon, at the island and the pine tree. At this hour, the pavilion is empty. In daylight, or on a fine evening, the master of this house might sit here with a guest or alone, composing a poem about the moon's reflection, or thinking about a poem, or deciding not to compose the poem at all. Because the thinking about the poem is already the poem. That is a thought the Heian-kyō has had many times. They have recorded it many times, and they will go on having it. The eastern edge of the city rises gently, where the plain meets the foothills. There are temples, many temples. The hills have been covered with them for centuries. Monks placed them on the slopes and ridges. They filled the valleys between, too. These monks understood something important. The height itself was part of the practice. The altitude mattered. The distance from the city below mattered. These were not small details. They were essential ones. You think differently up here. You are looking down at the city from a hill. You see how small it is, small against the mountains, and the mountains small against the sky. You climb one of the paths. It leads up from the city into the temple district. The city falls away slowly below you. First, the rooftops of the eastern residences, then the dark line of the palace wall, then the city itself, a pattern of darker and lighter patches. The streets are pale lines. They lie between the dark blocks of buildings, quiet lines, still ones. The river to the east is a silver thread, and beyond all of it, the western hills rise in the distance. Their ridges are shapes against the sky, silhouettes, soft and still. The western sky still bright behind them. The path is not empty, even now. A monk passes you going down. He is returning from the evening service. He walks with his eyes down, his hands folded in his sleeves. Not hurry, not leisureliness either. He moves the way a person moves, when they always know where they are going. He has learned to make the journey itself part of the practice. It is not merely the means of getting there. He does not acknowledge you. His passage disturbs nothing. He simply moves through the night, the way the monk on the temple's night round moves through the corridors, present, and then gone. He leaves the path as quiet as he found it. Further up, two pilgrims rest on a flat stone beside the path, an older woman and a younger one, mother and daughter, perhaps. They have come a long way to make this climb. The older woman is removing her sandal. She is looking at something on her foot. The younger one holds a small lamp, cupped in both hands, to protect it from the breeze. The lamplight falls across their faces. They bend together over the foot, the concern of the younger, the endurance of the older, the whole small drama of a foot on a journey. It is one of those accidental scenes of perfect completeness, a moment that contains an entire relationship, an entire story, lit by a cupped lamp, offered to no audience at all. The path is paved in flat stones, worn smooth by centuries of pilgrim feet. On either side, the maples are already turning. It is early autumn. The change begins at the tips of the branches. It spreads inward, slowly. That is how any transformation spreads, from the edges toward the center, tentatively at first, then with increasing confidence. In daylight, the maples on these hills burn, red that has nothing apologetic in it, orange that does not qualify itself, gold that is simply gold, entire, committed. In the moonlight now, the colors are gone, only the shapes remain, the particular, angular reach of maple branches, the dense, rounded canopy in full leaf, the way light comes through the leaves in pieces, rather than all at once. The temple appears through the trees. First, the sound of it, a low bell, struck once, a monk on the night round. The sound is low and round and deliberate. It seems to arrive from somewhere deeper, deeper than sound normally comes from the bell's interior rather than its surface, from the place in the metal where the sound was stored before the mallet found it. The note hangs in the mountain air, longer than notes usually hang. The mountain holds it the way the mountain holds everything, patiently, without effort. It gives the sound back to the air, only when it is ready. Then the temple itself, a main hall set into the hillside. built on a framework of wooden pillars, its great veranda extending out over the slope, unsupported at its outer edge. The wood of the pillars, the floorboards, darkened with age, a deep reddish brown, the kind the moonlight finds and holds. From the veranda, you can see the city below, the full extent of it, the palace in its walled compound, the avenue, the grid of streets, the two rivers, catching the moonlight on their surfaces. Beyond the city, the plain. Beyond the plain, the western mountains. Above all of it, the sky. You stand at the railing of the veranda. You look out over Heian-kyō. The city below you is quiet, the way cities always look quiet from above, their noise, their motion, their urgency reduced to nothing. The distance and the dark reduce it all. 10,000 lives compressed into a pattern of light and dark, simply beautiful. It asks nothing of you. It is simply what a city looks like at night. At night, from a hill, when the moon is full, a monk passes behind you, in the corridor of the hall, his robes whispering on the wooden floor, his face turned inward, attending to whatever monks attend to on their night rounds, perhaps counting something, perhaps reciting something, perhaps simply being present. That is what practice teaches, to be present, without expectation, without judgment, simply here, simply now, simply this. You come back down the hill, by a different path. It brings you out near the Kamo river. The river runs at the base of the hills. This river is different, narrower, faster. It talks to itself over the shallow rocks. Shallow rivers talk in a particular way, not urgently, but continuously. The sound is both specific and general. It is this river on this night, and every river on every night. It is the sound that water makes, moving over stone. The riverbanks here are lined with willows and stands of bamboo. The bamboo is the first thing you hear before you see it, a dry sound, whispering, slightly hollow. The hollow stems make it when they move against each other. This sound has no equal. No other material makes it. It can only be bamboo being itself in a light wind. The Japanese have a word for it, take no oto, the sound of bamboo. They love it the way they love all sounds that are particular, irreplaceable, sounds that exist only once, in one material, in one condition. They cannot be made any other way. You walk along the riverbank, flat stones beneath your feet. The water is very close, on your right. The willows are very close, on your left. The moon is reflected in the river, in pieces. The current breaks it up. It carries the pieces downstream, and then replenishes them. So the moon's reflection is never the same twice, but it is always there, always the moon. The current makes it something between a reflection and a river of light, a moving thing, a living thing. It breathes. A firefly appears above the water, late in the season for fireflies. But here, in the warmth the river holds after summer, in the shelter of the willows, there is still one. Its light is a cool green-white pulse. It is rhythmic, patient. It moves slowly upstream, above the surface of the water. It describes a long, slow arc. It brings itself close to the bank. Then it carries itself back toward the center, then upstream again. It describes something in the air above the water, something that has no name. It is the path of a single firefly on a September night. You watch it. You watch until it disappears around the bend of the river. Then the river is dark again. The sound of the water over the stones continues, as it has continued all along. It is unchanged by the fireflies coming and going. It is unchanged by your watching. Your breathing has found the river's rhythm, or something like it, something slower, a rhythm underneath the river's rhythm. the rhythm of a body that has been walking for a long time. It is ready now for the rhythm to change, to slow, to become the rhythm of rest. The Kamo River does not hurry. This is the first thing you understand about it. You have spent time on its banks, in the dark, and the river has a quality. It knows exactly where it is going. It has decided that arrival matters less, that the journey is what counts. The water passing you now left the mountains this morning, or yesterday. It moved through the gorges, through the shallower sections, through the wider bends, at the terrain's own pace. It arrived here, at this hour, in this particular state, the state of clearness, of temperature, of depth. From here, it will continue south, south to the bay. It will carry whatever the city has given it, the moonlight, the reflection of the willows, the ripple that the heron's foot made when the heron finally moved. None of it will be carried for long. None of it was meant to be. The Japanese have a name for this river quality, nagare, flow, not just the physical flow of water. It is the principle behind it, the way things move from their source to their end. They move along the path of least resistance. They neither force nor resist. They simply go. The temples in the hills above you teach this. They teach it in the form of philosophy. The river teaches it in the form of itself. That is the better teacher, the teacher you do not have to think about. You stay with the river a while longer. You let the sound of it work on you. It is already working. From the river, the path leads upward, into the pine forest, up into the dark. The forest covers the lower slopes of the hills. It lies northeast of the city. At night, it is its own world, its own conditions, its own quiet, as different from the city below as the city is from the open plain. The pines are old, older than the city, some of them. Their trunks are 3 or 4 feet across. Their bark is deeply furrowed, the color of old iron. Their crowns are invisible, somewhere in the dark above you, except where the moonlight comes through in shafts between the branches. The ground is covered with needles, a deep, springy carpet, sweetly resinous. It has accumulated over decades. It absorbs the sound of your footsteps completely. Walking on it feels like walking on something that has agreed to receive you. It gives, slightly under your weight. Then it restores itself. After you have passed, it leaves no trace. The smell here is the purest smell of the evening, cleaner than the city gardens, cleaner than the jasmine, the water, the lacquer, cleaner than the river with its mud and reeds, simply pine resin in cool autumn air, a smell so clear, so specific, it seems to clarify the air around it, to make the darkness more transparent, to make the silence more audible. You breathe it in, you feel it go all the way down. A deer is somewhere in the forest. You can hear it moving through the undergrowth, unhurried. Its hooves on the needle carpet are almost as quiet as yours, just audible, just present. The deer does not alarm at your presence. Perhaps it is accustomed to people on this path. Perhaps it is, like you, simply moving through the night, moving in the direction the night suggests, attending to nothing in particular, open to whatever the forest has to offer. The forest has been here a long time, longer than the city. It will be here long after too. It does not care either way. The pines around you were saplings once. They were young when this capital was new. Now they are the great trees you walk among. Their canopies rise 60, 70 feet above you. Their roots go down as deep as the trees are tall, down into the hillside, in the dark, unseen. The entire forest is connected, underground. The visible portion does not reveal this, but the connection is there. There is a quality to old forests. It has no precise equivalent in anything we build. Not silence exactly, not stillness exactly, but something that includes both, something that goes beyond both, something that belongs to the scale of time these trees live in. A scale so vast and slow, your walk tonight is less than a breath, less than the turn of a single leaf, an event so brief the forest will not record it. And yet you are here. The forest is here. The moon is moving through the branches above you. The smell of resin is in your lungs. Your feet are deep in the needle carpet. All of this is real as anything has ever been. You drift, you breathe, and the dark holds you gently. You find a flat rock near the edge of the forest. The trees thin here. The hillside opens. To the south, the city. To the west, the plain. You sit on the rock. It is cool now. All rocks become cool when the sun has been gone long enough, and you look. The city is there below you, Heian-kyō, in the full moonlight. Its streets are visible as darker lines against the lighter blocks between them. The palace compound sits at the north, a slightly brighter cluster. The two rivers are silver threads. The lanterns of 10,000 households are the faintest amber glow, too diffuse to see individually, but present as a whole, the warm light of human habitation, compressed into a soft luminosity. The moonlight almost overwhelms it, almost, but not quite. It is very beautiful. It will be very beautiful for another 500 years, changing and remaining itself, burning and being rebuilt, losing some things, gaining others, the way cities change while remaining what they are. The mountains will not change, the rivers will not change their courses, not much. The grid of streets will persist, and on nights like this one, in September, with a full moon, the city will look more or less as it looks now. A pattern of quiet light in a basin between mountains, arranged with care, alive, particular, itself. The moon has moved, not far. Perhaps an hour has passed since you arrived, perhaps two, but far enough. The shadows have shifted. The roof of the temple to the east is now lit differently. The city below has deepened from the blue-black of early night into the fuller dark that the middle of the night produces, the dark that has had time to settle, to compact itself, to become more thoroughly itself. You are very still on your rock. The pine needles around you are quiet. The deer has moved elsewhere. The forest is attended only by the wind. It moves through the crowns of the pines in a long, slow wave. The wave comes from the north. It passes south, a wave of sound, Matsukaze, rising and passing, then rising again as the next wave arrives. The forest breathing, slowly, quietly, and then breathing once more. Your body is doing what bodies do. It is becoming heavier. The weight of it is present to you now. Your hands rest on your knees. You can feel the particular weight of them. Your shoulders want to drop, just one last inch. Your jaw is soft. Your eyes are ready to close, but not yet. There is still the sky. The sky above the pine forest is extraordinary. The moon is high, white and silver. The stars around it fade from that brightness, but on the far side, in the east, the moon's light does not reach. There, the stars are dense, innumerable. The Milky Way crosses from north to south. It is a river of faint silver. Your eyes need a full minute of darkness to see it. Then, once they see it, they cannot unfocus. You see the whole depth of it, 100 billion stars, our galaxy, visible as a cloud of light, crossing the sky above the pine forest, in exactly the direction it has always crossed. The universe is very old. The city below you is very young. You are younger still. Tonight is the youngest thing of all. This particular September night, the harvest moon above Heian-kyō, the pine forest, breathing around you. Tonight has never existed before. It is absolutely new. It exists only now. It will never come again. Not in this exact configuration of light and air and sound. Not with your body on this rock, in this forest. Your breath moves in and out. It is slower than it was an hour ago. Slower than when you came up the hill. The body knows what it needs. It is telling you, with the quiet authority it has always had, that what it needs now is sleep. Deep, full sleep. The sleep that the forest sleeps in winter. The sleep that the carp sleep in the cold depths of the pond when the ice comes. The sleep of something that has done what it came to do. Something that is releasing itself completely into rest. Heian-kyō is below you. The palace is there. The Suzaku Avenue is there. The gardens with their ponds and their arched red bridges. The temple on the hill. The veranda. The view. The river with its herons. Its one firefly. All of it is quiet. All of it is still. All of it is simply itself, in the moonlight, being what it has always been, doing what it has always done. It requires nothing from you, only that you were here for it, that you saw it, that you let it be beautiful, which you did. The moon moves across the sky above you, slowly, at the pace the moon always moves, too slow to see in any single moment, but visible, across an hour. The moon has been moving this way, at this pace, since before anyone was here to watch it. It will continue after the watching ends. The pines breathe, the city breathes, the mountains are still, the sky is full of stars on the dark side, full of silver on the lit side. Your breath is slowing, slowing to match something, some rhythm beneath all the rhythms. The rhythm that belongs to whatever rests without effort, whatever settles without being asked to settle. You are settling. You are already most of the way there. The pine needles are soft around you. The rock is cool under your hands. The moon is above you. The city is below you. The forest is the forest. The night is the night. You are here, simply breathing, simply resting. Sleep comes the way things always come in Heian-kyō. Not with drama, not announcing itself. It comes quietly, from the side, like a poem slipped under a door, like moonlight finding its way between the blinds of a carriage. It comes